Hey guys, still going through this big huge collection here that we're never going to see the end of with Kenworth photographs. My truck would say PCC, Pacific Central Carriers, or is it Pacific Coast Carriers? With what looks like a John Deere 892, probably a D. Macmillan Bloedel colors from Vancouver Island. Truck just takes on a whole different essence when it's a logging truck. Like, there's its lifestyle, the supplemental equipment and rigs around it, and it's associated with. There's just something about going up into the forest, taking big equipment to places people have never been, packaging up the forest and bringing it to town on a truck. You just know it'll be an interesting day. Frial Lake logging. There might be some pictures of that hauling off-highway size spruce loads. I saw them last week, which won't be when I post this, on the heavy equipment forums under any brand log truck. Somewhere's on page 38 to 40 to somewhere in there. I think it had massive load on it, getting loaded by a line loader. So if it sits a couple inches lower than it was intended specs for its springs, there's photo evidence of it on the other site. A big Case International articulated. C500. Alberta bed truck. Has it got singles on it? Yeah, it's only got singles on it. Alford Bay logging. Been a name changer too, but the core of that's still around. That's a neat one. Needle nose. Another LW Kenworth. Same. They were in big demand up through the 80s, early 90s. They were highly, highly sought after. A lot of them went from here down to Washington, Oregon. There was an outfit here that would clean them up, put them across the line, border. At the rate we're going, I might see some of our trucks in here before we own them. We had a LW with a Barco 130 on it. And you'll love the name on the door. When we got it, it had a sticker on it. It said the magnet. It said geriatric logging. Some old guy in Mackenzie, BC owned it, we were told or figured out. Great name though. Parker Pacific, now known as the Inland Group. Mallet truck. Missing his seat there. That's a Polite Tidy classic. That's from the land of palm trees. You wouldn't ever see that set up there with straight sides like that. No wooden boards, no bull board over the cab, and that small of a box on the back as a transfer. You'd never ever see that in BC. As you can gather in BC, if it's bigger and uglier and crazier and one-off custom and meant to move the mountain, then there's a better chance of seeing that here. Stuff's not really built to do less, or work at lesser capacity. Turns out these tankers, I've heard, have an expiry date on them. You have to get them recertified or do something big. You can't just buy an ancient one and haul fuel in it. It just doesn't have the look. Too clean, too smooth, too round, no bullboard. And for us, this is all Alberta stuff here, these bed trucks, and you can totally tell regionally where something is from by how it looks. That's classy. This would be Alberta. Unitil. They always had rough trucks. They were always at the BC Place, the Motor Spectaculars back in the day with their tow trucks on display driving around. says Triple West Group. They're still around. Even if you're owner-operator, you end up with their name on the door. They don't like your name on it. Man, those are wide, that front end on that. It's way out of proportion to anything you'd ever see on the highway. Looks like Gordy Isaacson's restored truck somewhat, but you put the old yellow, the famous paint job on them, and they all look similar. There's a Tonka. These trucks, these big bed trucks, Alberta oil field ones, those things are not too far from $1 million. New. I'll check out that off-highway setup. That's a hog nose too. There's not many of them around. That thing's doing the work of a Hayes or a Pacific. Same picture, or same truck. Yeah, these aren't all the rage in the woods anymore on the BC coast. It's back in the day when the Forest Practices Code came in, which is sort of gone now, for long gone, but these things were too big and too wide, and the roads had to be too big, and they didn't turn around very good, so the 6x6 ADT articulated dump trucks kind of took over on a lot of that. It's called end hauling. Weren't allowed to sidecast over the banks anymore. Stuff had to be taken to approved spoil sites, and maybe a mile or half a mile, or as we'd call it, a kilometer down the road. Those trucks just didn't shine, so their day was kind of numbered. And I'm going to stop this one here.